Happy Friday and happy Valentine's Day. I'm Rob Mack.
And I'm Jess Moyer. Welcome to EverTalk Live, coming to you live Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. for all things happiness in Hollywood, a little pop culture and positivity. And today it's all about love, and I'm feeling it. Thanks to Rob Mack and our producers, Andy Waldman. Thank you for treating me. These are absolutely beautiful roses.
Well, we love you so much, Jez, and they're just a little sample of what we and how we feel about you. I mean, truly appreciate you. So grateful.
I love, and I love you even more, and we love our guests today.
Do.
Good morning, ladies.
Good morning.
In the studio. Hi, thanks so much for being with us today. We've got Erica Nicole Malone. She's a screenwriter, producer, playwright, and just debuted her brand at Sundance.
All right.
Oh, good morning.
Good morning. So excited to be here, and thank you so much for inviting me.
Oh, it's our honor to celebrate this day of love with you. We want to know, what's your morning routine? How do you wake up and stay woke?
You know what I do? I pretty much wake up, I meditate, I pray, just kind of think about what I want to do that day and just kind of stay focused, write down my thoughts and just kind of clear my head, and just as a writer, just constantly just kind of meditating on what I want to do for the day.
Oh, I love that. So I read somewhere, and I feel strongly that like meditation is kind of listening to God, prayer is talking to God, but how would you describe the difference between meditation and prayer?
When I'm meditating, I am just still. There are no thoughts. I'm just allowing the words to be spoken to me. When I'm praying, I'm speaking to God, and I'm just like sharing my thoughts to God, just having no inhibitions, letting Him know what I'm feeling, what I'm weak about, how I want to connect to Him, and just having that free flow conversation with Him.
Beautiful. Love it.
Oh, so beautifully said, right?
Yep.
Kat is starring in Addicted to You, and you can bring it home today. Good morning, Kat.
Hi, thank you so much for having me, you two.
So excited to have you.
Of course, especially on this day of love. There's nothing better than a good rom-com, right?
Yeah, and it's actually mine and my fiance's 3-year anniversary today. We're very cheesy, got together on Valentine's Day, so.
Congratulations.
Oh, I love
That's fantastic.
that. What are you going to do to celebrate?
We're going to go to Arizona and hang out with my parents.
Oh, there you go. All right. Lots of love right there.
So, Kat, what's your morning routine? How do you wake up and stay woke?
Oh, man, I felt really bad listening to that last one, because I'm like, I wake up with my cat on my face, and kind of like roll out of bed, try and chug water. Yeah, it's not so much meditation. It's more just like getting all the cat hair off me and trying to force myself away.
Well, that is a form of meditation in its own right, I think, right? Just takes a while to get the cat hair off.
Yeah.
Works for me, cat hair.
Exactly.
All right, well, we look forward to continuing the conversation with each of you later in the show.
Love that. Addicted to You. Oh, boy, it's a day of love and a day of addiction, too, I think, for lots of folks, right? I mean, growing up, particularly like my first relationship or two, it was definitely an addictive kind of experience more than love, I think.
Oh.
Right?
You mean that feeling when you're hooked?
Yeah, when you're hooked and it's like really good in the beginning and then it's really terrible in the end.
Oh, but we're all still craving that feeling, even as adults. That's what all the music's are. The music's, the songs, everything's written about that hooked feeling.
Everybody loves that, endorphin hit. It's an endorphin hit, really, and they have shown that it's, the equivalent in some ways to getting like a hit of crack or heroin, really. And that's why it's so addictive, but there is a healthier version of that. We'll talk about that a little bit, in this segment. But yeah, interesting.
Well, speaking of the healthier version of that, how do you navigate that when that hooked feeling is gone? Eve Rodsky's figured it out with Fair Play. It's her latest book, a game-changing solution for when you have too much to do and more life to live. How do you navigate relationships?
Oh, right.
Recently spotted in Reese Witherspoon's book club, of course, and she's got 4 tips that I want to share for fair play in a relationship. And being somebody who's experienced a long-term relationship, we were together for 7 years, I found these extraordinarily helpful.
Yeah.
Number 1 was all time is created equal. Your time is important as their time. Vice versa, right?
You would think that was obvious, right?
You would think that was
but
obvious.
It's a little tough because we're all a little selfish and a little self-interested and self-focused, and that's not always a bad thing at all. But yeah, it's good to make sure that you're honoring both of your time.
Well, and typically in these heterosexual relationships, his time was valued and more finite than her time. She had infinite time to accomplish infinite tasks.
Right.
But that wasn't the case, right?
Yeah.
You have to reclaim your right to be interesting. find that, quote, unicorn space. That's what she refers to it in your book. Do something for you. I had a girlfriend who recently learned French in secret. She didn't tell her husband. They were going to go on a trip to Paris together, and she wanted to land and speak French.
Yeah.
He had no idea. She was waking up an hour early, learning a second language. They land in Paris, and all of a sudden she speaks French. He said, wait a minute, who is this woman? And I like this.
You know what it reminds me of? It reminds me of that scene in Limitless with Bradley Cooper, and he's like overseas, and he's finally taking the pill or whatever, and all of a sudden he's having dinner with his girlfriend, I think that broke up with him earlier, and he starts just speaking another language to the waiter or waitress, and he's like, wow, like on the spot.
But suddenly that person is that much more interesting
because
there's something you've reserved for yourself, your own secret garden that you're cultivating within you so you can remain complex and mysterious and interesting, because I do think that's part of the key to a lasting long-term relationship.
Oh, for sure. Esther Perel, the psychologist, talks about that quite eloquently, right? She says that, the things that we do to sort of cultivate love are different than the things that we need to do that cultivate desire and cultivate interest. And so the desire and interest part is a lot about mystery, and the love part is a lot about familiarity. So in any case, love, what you're saying, you're absolutely right about that, Jess.
Even if you make breakfast every single day and you're the best wifey you can be, if you're not fostering that love within yourself, you are going to be boring.
That's right.
Trust me.
My uncle would always say, if you're bored, you're boring.
Right?
I don't feel like you're ever boring, Jess.
Oh, Rob, tell me more. More roses, please. Just kidding. The third tip was start where you are now. Stop waiting for the if, the and, the when. When we get this next house, when we have the more money, whatever it is, just start now. And you don't even have to be in relationships. And I thought that was key. Like, start cultivating that for yourself now.
So this is what I love about you so much is, like, I think we share a mind, Jess, because literally, we kind of come in the morning and, I'll come up with a topic. Sometimes Jess comes up with many topics, and then we don't usually talk about it a whole lot before the segment, so we can keep it fresh for the segment, right?
Exactly.
And today my whole theme was about waiting. Like, what are you waiting for in your life? And it's funny that it would be your last tip, sort of out of fair play, that you sort of pulled out, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
What are you waiting for? Set your standards and your values now. Establish them. And I also pulled up this, I want to share it with you, a little moon omen for today, because so many people, especially those who are single, feel extra lonely on a day that's supposed to be filled with love. And you don't have to be in a relationship to feel the love. You just have to have a coworker like Rob. But I wanted to share this with you. It says, I'm ready to open my heart and release and express the abundance that's always within me. That's the key, within me. I am loved in all ways. I'm always provided for. Life is a gift, and I am blessed.
Oh, gorgeous, right?
It's such a powerful affirmation. So I really wanted to encourage you and share that with everyone, because today is a day where you can really love on yourself. And I don't say that lightly, because so many people go, oh, yes, I'm supposed to love on myself. I feel lonely. Yeah. Yes, you are supposed to love on yourself.
I think it's so much greater and more beautiful and so much more blissful loving yourself. Like, I don't think I've known anyone, exception of being my mom, maybe you, that's ever loved me quite the way I can love myself, right? It's like I know best sort of what will make me happy. I know sort of best what won't make me happy, and I know also that I'm like probably my own top or highest priority.
Absolutely.
So and it can be an unconditional kind of experience.
And today is the day to indulge in that, especially on Valentine's Day. I remember one of the most memorable Valentines that I ever had. I spent with my two dogs. Yeah. And I took them to this beach down Huntington Beach, and they had a dog beach there, and I just let them run and play all afternoon. Then we went for frozen yogurt to my favorite frozen yogurt place, and I bought myself flowers, and it was probably the most memorable Valentine's Day I'd ever had, because one, it was just full of unconditional love, their love, little Sage and Logan. Yeah. But I just spent that day doing whatever I wanted to do.
I mean, it's the best, right?
Frozen yogurt for lunch and dinner.
Yeah, exactly.
Just time with the dogs and going to the beach, even if it wasn't practical and we had to drive 2 hours.
Yeah. A little froyo. I love that, Jazz.
Yeah. But what's the best way you've ever kind of honored self-love today?
Yeah, just stop thinking. I mean, the only thing between you and love is loveless thoughts, right? Like, the only reason you feel loveless or you feel lonely is because you're having loveless or lonely thoughts. That's really it. Sometimes we think that it's about the lack of another person, like it's the lack of another person's presence, but it's really the lack of our own presence. Like, we're not being present for ourselves or with ourselves. And, you don't have to think your way into love. You don't have to work at it super hard or into self-love. You can just simply practice not thinking, being where you are, enjoying where you are, enjoying who you are. And that doesn't mean, like, that you have to do a whole lot of work about sort of around that, but you do have to practice letting the thoughts go.
That's the key. Thoughts are the only thing that are going to hold you back
Yeah.
from feeling the love that you want to feel for yourself.
Exactly. And if that doesn't work, then you just put on some gangster rap, or you put on a little old school 90s R&B. Are you kidding? You always feel
No, I
great.
put on T Swift.
There you go.
To the studio
T
this morning.
Swift.
Guilty as charged. I watched Miss Americana last night
Oh, how
on
was that?
Netflix.
Yeah.
Incredible.
Really?
Because personally, as many women my age do, we felt like Taylor Swift gave us a soundtrack to our entire teens and adulthood. I mean, she went through a breakup. I was going through a breakup. She had a new thing. I had a new thing.
Hilarious.
And it was just so funny. But I really, truly admire how she has navigated, dating, love, and relationships with integrity. And people love her or hate it for it. But you've got to respect what she's done.
Yeah, I've got a good friend of mine, and he wouldn't probably claim or own the fact that he's a big Taylor Swift fan, right? But he watched Miss Americana, and he just absolutely loved it.
It was great.
And I was wondering, I wanted to ask him out, maybe ask you, like, was there anything specifically that you learned by watching it? Because I always like to learn from these people, because they're Taylor Swift, hugely popular, incredibly talented. She's clearly navigated this entire scene extraordinarily well. I wonder what's let her do that. Anything you would...
I think it's the people that she keeps closest to her. It's her mom, it's her family, it's her team. But what I really appreciated most wasn't something that I learned necessarily about her, was how real, raw, and authentic she was in letting the cameras into her lives. Because, you see her on the stage, you see her performing or, accepting an award, and she's always so perfectly polished and pressed and, gorgeous from the inside out. And she really let the cameras into her lives, and she wasn't always wearing makeup, and she, had her sweatshirt on, and she was just working in the studio, and to really be able to see and experience kind of her creative process in that way was cool.
That's super cool.
I appreciated how vulnerable she was in letting the cameras into that.
That's such a breath of fresh air, because I think these days especially, you get like this curated imperfection.
It's like Instagram.
Oh my gosh, are you kidding? It's like I'm having a breakdown moment, but everything's perfect. My makeup is still perfect, and
once you've come out of your breakdown moment, that's when then you go, oh, I'm breaking down right now. Send me some love.
No,
you know what I mean?
exactly.
Because you're already through it.
Totally. That's the only problem with any advice that you get or guidance that you get in the world is that suddenly, it's like they say, a truth that's organized becomes a lie kind of thing. It's like everybody wants to be vulnerable now, and they want to be, fully transparent or whatnot, but they do it in such sort of cultivated and curated ways that it doesn't feel authentic, right? So I love that you experienced that and watching the documentary there. You're gonna have to check it out.
You should.
Yeah.
You'll fall back in love with T Swift. And then I'll be jealous. Just kidding.
That's awesome. Who can't love her though? She's just really incredible, right?
Really incredible. Well, thank you so much for being here with me this morning and sharing this day of love. Thank you for sharing this special day with us, and stay tuned. We'll be back with more and very special guests. And I'm Jessamine Moyer. This is EverTalk Live, coming to you live Monday through Friday at 9 a.m. in the Ever Media Studios for a little Hollywood and happiness, positivity, and pop culture. On Apple TV and Roku via the EverTalk app, and of course streaming live on all socials.
I've got so much love in my life, and then I get to do this with you every single day. I mean, it's incredible.
If you have a dream, do not let anything stop you.
You can have all the money or all the success in the world, but if you don't have peace, it's all worthless, really, right?
Happiness from the inside out. Please be sure, if you haven't read this book,
Sweet.
you've got to. I
important to
love
remember.
what we do.
I do too, Jess.
Miracles. I'd like just my life to be an example that miracles exist. I am just so grateful that we get to be a part of this journey together, Rob, whether it's 4 a.m. texting up peanut butter and jellies or coming to you live Monday through Friday every 9 a.m. You know when you're going to see that, Eddie?
Yes.
When we're holding it in our
That's
own
right,
hands,
that's
Rob,
right.
for Best Digital Daytime Talk Show.
What makes people lucky, like actually lucky, is that they believe they're lucky.
Thank you for being my mentor, Rob.
Likewise.
He didn't even know it.
True. Yeah.
I'm out all the time. I'm everywhere. I'm drinking my wine. I'm doing the show. I'm stepping and repeating on some kind of red carpet. I had a little too much. I said, one drink Jeslyn. One drink Jeslyn. 2 tequila Jeslyn. 2 tequila Jeslyn.
One drink Jazz.
Is this one drink Jeslyn? I hope you're proud, Rob.
I'm very
reading
proud
a
of you,
book.
actually. I don't know how you have The hair is killing it today.
Oh, thank
Are
you.
you feeling-
Clearly, we have no fun around here. It's a thing. Thought of the day. Light, love, and magic. Oh, I do it fun. It was wild. Abso-freaking-lutely. Oh my God, do you know we're still on live, Rob? Right now.
You gotta be kidding.
Talking to my angels.
That's hilarious. That's
love what you do, you don't work a day in your life, right? I absolutely love what I do.
Yeah,
We couldn't do what we do without the support of you watching. Thank you for sharing, for DMing, for commenting, for continuing to support us as we grow and scale our vision, for the people in the studio and their friends and families for having our backs. We're so grateful.
Right. And I'm most deeply and genuinely grateful for you. Truly I am, Jazz. It's just a pleasure every day to get to connect with you and work with you. It's amazing.
Oh, thank you. I'm so grateful for you. We love you, Romac. There isn't a man or woman who hasn't met you and said you're the best dressed person in Los Angeles and the happiest guy we know. It's an honor to be able to do this show with you.
That.
Welcome back to EverTalk Live. We are here with Erica Nicole Malone, and we are talking all things your new brand launched 2020 at this year's Sundance, of course, and In Love with Tyrone. Yes. Wow, yes. You are one busy lady.
Thank you so much, and thank you for having me.
My pleasure.
I'm just so
Excited about all the different projects I'm working on, from theater to film, short films. But what we did at Sundance this year, or a couple of weeks ago, is to be able to kind of launch other writers and give them a chance to show their films. So we had Matty Rich there with his film The Cure. We had Powerful You there with their documentary about being positive. James Pepora. So we had some amazing, amazing people at Sundance, and also I'm excited about my play In Love with Tyrone that we're working on for Vegas, for our Vegas residency. My play In Love with Tyrone that we're working on for a Vegas residency, and it's kind of a comedy, kind of like the Broadway version or the smaller version of the Broadway version, A Gentleman's Guide to Love and Murder, which is just about basically two women falling in love with the same man. That's Valentine's Day.
It never happens.
That never happens.
Oh,
I just kind of created that,
Yeah.
Yeah. And then on a more serious note, I have a project called A Pure and Meaningful Heart, the Mamie Till story, kind of like the life of 14-year-old Emmett Till.
Yeah.
And that's going to be produced by Tracy Edmonds of Edmonds Entertainment.
Wow.
And that's being optioned. And so I just have several projects. Welcome to the Good Life. It's a story about my...
Oh, I thought she meant her life.
Yeah.
I got to say, welcome to the good life. I was like, yes.
She means that both literally
I'm
and...
excited about my good life.
Figured it.
But I have an amazing nephew who is 13 now, but he's blonde-haired, blue-eyed, and my brother adopted him. And it's kind of about how he was brought into our family, and just, it wasn't about race, just about love. So I imagine his life 20 years later when he brings his wife to the black family for the black, reunion and everything. And it's just a funny comedy about our real life, which is just amazing. So I have different projects that I try to show diversity. I try to bring realness, but also show passion and purpose in what I write.
So you've got a lot of pots on the stove here.
Yes.
I mean, it's good. How do you navigate all of that, and how do you manage all of that? Is it a lot?
Yeah, it is a lot. But I've been doing this since I was 13 years old. I went to performing arts school for theater. And so it's kind of like the tapestry of my entire life. And so now my kids are like 20 and 22, and that's hard to believe. But and they're in theater as well. So it's just like our life. It's what we love to do. So it's something I find time for because I love it so much. And I'm just excited about just bringing. I like bringing new voices. And there's some amazing voices here in Hollywood, but I like bringing new voices, and I'm excited about bringing new projects, new voices to Hollywood.
So take us back before you had 117 projects that were at Sundance.
The good life.
Exactly, living the good life. What was your life like, and did you always know this would be a career, and did you always know that you could make a living doing it?
Yeah, like I was raised in Louisville, Kentucky.
Yeah.
So I'm really proud of my Kentucky roots. I live in Las Vegas now, but so my mom was just always really big about putting me in writing when I was 5 years old, and poetry. And then 13, I auditioned for Youth Performing Arts High School in theater, and I had this amazing teacher that taught me playwriting and pushed me and told me that I could be anything. And my mother told me I could be anything. So I started writing plays in college to pay for tuition. and I would charge like $3 a ticket, and I'd have 800 students come. And
Wow.
Wow.
And that's how I paid for my tuition every semester. And it was great because I got an opportunity to like the students, like I spent my $3. This is what didn't work. This is what did work. And it just made me a better writer, and started taking plays around the different cities, and just realized, this is something I really want to do the rest of my life. And that's what I did for 22 years. And then just produced a sitcom pilot called Ward of the State, starring Janet Huber a few years ago. She's the mom from Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. And just decided, Hollywood is something I really want to get into and start producing my own projects.
You seem to have navigated it very successfully. What advice would you have for other women who are trying to do what you've done?
I just don't have any limitation because you're women. I think sometimes when we get so busy, we think that we're one thing. We're so many different things. Women are so vast. We're so many different things. We can write, we can produce, we can act. Just don't put any limitations on who you are and what you do, and just plan. I'm like one of those people that plans every quarter. Okay, this quarter I want to do this. Okay, next quarter, I plan all of my quarters on what I want to do, and just do it. Don't feel like there's limitations on money. I've done it with no money. I've done it with money. I own a healthcare reimbursement firm, so that helps to, I think, finance a lot of what I do. But before that, I've done it with nothing. So just really just believe in what you produce, and don't feel like there are any limitations to it.
Wow, just incredible. I think I'm I'm inspired by all of it, but particularly that you're so left and right brained. It's amazing to me. You've got this creative side, you've got this analytical side, and strategic planning side. I also am inspired by the fact that have this sort of found this sweet spot between being and doing. And you talked at the top of the show about meditation and prayer, and you're doing all that in the midst of also planning so well. Where did you learn that? How did you learn that?
I've been around some great women.
Yeah.
Like my mother and my grandmother. And I was one of those little kids that would just be right under my elders. And they would always be giving me little quotes, especially Black moms and Black grandmothers, they always give you quotes.
Yeah.
And so I just ate those quotes up. About, just listen to your grandmother's bones. Listen to what your grandmother is telling you. If your grandmother's not even alive anymore, what is she telling you in your spirit? Because there's a message that they pass down from generation to generation that's for you. And I just listen to that, and I really allow that to guide me. And I feel like a lot of what I do is for my great-grandmother and my great-grandmothers that have passed on, that they're not going to be able to live the dream that I can live. So I let that fuel me, and I just let it inspire me.
I so deeply appreciate that feeling of legacy. What is it that you want to be known for? What is it that you want to impart on the next generations?
I think, being in the coastal areas, I think people can forget that someone in South Carolina, a little girl, has more talent than me right now. But she feels because of her limitations that she'll never get to Hollywood, or she'll never be taken seriously. I want them to know that I'm from Louisville, Kentucky, and that I'm here, and that I'm wanting to change Hollywood, and that they're going to do 10 times better than me. That if they just take the step, that they'll be here too, and they'll be here in a much bigger way than I am.
Okay, Louisville.
Yeah, you're paving the way. You are opening that door.
Yes,
Please tell
love it.
everyone where they can find and follow you, and of course learn more about your projects.
Thank you so much. You can go to ericanicolemalone.com, or any of my Instagram, social media, Facebook, and I just appreciate so much just being a part of this and following me, and hopefully I'll guide you to somewhere pretty great.
Love that. Thank you.
Thank you. We appreciate you. Stay tuned. We'll be back with more
Thank you
EverTalk
so
Live.
much.
That was
Do you know who's single and who's married around here?
Oh, you don't want to date people from Buzz Story.
I want to get my office flirt on.
She said that she loves me.
I decided we could be really good together.
What if you took sex out of the equation? Tell her you're a sex addict.
I can't date you.
What do you mean you can't date me? We had sex.
I know.
Sex addiction.
What about it?
It's your new story.
What you doing tonight? I have been invited to an actual sex addict meeting. Hi, I'm Luke.
Hi, Luke.
I'm so glad that Adams brought you to our inner circle.
Hey.
Hi.
I met a really cute girl.
What? No, you're not Ben Affleck.
The guide to sleeping with a sex addict.
Wait, so you're gonna con this guy, then you're gonna write about him in your magazine?
Pretend you don't know what to do. No promises, I promise.
You know, there's something about you that I'm really drawn to.
I don't know if I can go through with this story.
Because of you, this is over. You were the one that was lying to her the whole time.
Either advance your career or take a shot at love.
You still have a chance. Go after her.
Welcome back to EverTalk Live. We are here with Kat Adler, starring in Addicted to You. Love that concept,
Yes.
by the way.
Yeah.
Hilarious. So what can you tell us a little bit about your role in this film?
So my friend Mike wrote a show at Second City that I was starring in, and two of the other lead characters, Shoni and Garrett, were also in the show. So he just wanted to write something. At first I think it was supposed to just be a short, just to include all three of us, and just grew and grew and grew until we were making our own feature film. And what's so fun about this is because we've been improvising together for 5 years. Yes, we got a script, but they were like, do whatever you want with it,
Wow.
within reason.
Yeah.
But if you watch the movie, my character is completely nuts, which means as an improviser, you have no rules. So I just let it rip.
Let your crazy flag fly.
Yeah. Those are my favorite roles to play, because you can just be.
I love that story though, because you know that kind of is the very quintessential Hollywood thing, right? You know, actors and performers, and they're together improving, and then this idea is sparked. And it becomes a movie, and then the movie wins awards, and then you're here talking about it, and then everybody's enjoying it. It's a really cool journey.
Yeah, and we filmed it a while ago too, and it went through the festival circuit, and it kept winning awards at these festivals. We're like, this movie has legs.
Yeah.
People might actually want to see this movie. So we're all really excited.
I love that. Is it, you know, for someone who's not an improv actor, it sounds exciting at first to have that much creative license, but also extraordinarily like anxiety provoking to have like no breaks, like just go and do. Do you feel that at all, or is it just complete exhilaration for you?
No, I didn't feel that way at all. And what was really funny about it is because most of us were improvisers, even after we weren't on screen, we would be sitting in the crafty room, just like eating snacks and improvising.
Yeah, still riffing off of each other. Yeah.
It wasn't even necessarily about the movie. We'd just like start another weird scene, and we just kept going that way. So it really like kept our juices flowing.
Yeah. You know, the one thing I love about improv, it's a very yes and kind of culture, right? Talk to us a little bit about that. Like, have you lived your life that way? Is that part of what's led to your success, do you think? Or is that something separate? Would you attribute your success to different things?
You know, I think I've done a lot of yes anding.
Yeah.
A lot of times opportunities just land in front of your face.
Yeah.
Like I met my manager at a bar one night. Didn't know he was a manager. I was just, you know, being my absolute charming, funny self.
Right.
And eventually he's like, "You're so funny. Do you write?" And at the time I didn't.
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh yeah, I
of course.
write."
Yeah.
Yes,
Prolific writer.
And he's like, "Well, great. Give me your information. Like, I'd love to read your pilot." And I'm like, "Oh, my pilot? Yeah. I'll send you my pilot." That I haven't written yet.
Yeah, the one's in my head right now. Yeah.
So, and that's how I got into writing, which was very just a yes and situation.
Wow.
Yeah, so.
And so you're just used to figuring it out as it comes along.
Yeah, well, I guess as an improviser, you're always writing in your head. So really, I just had to improvise with all of the characters in my brain.
Wow.
Yeah.
I like the Jay-Z acting. He doesn't write his lyrics, he just memorizes. Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
So we asked our last guest kind of what tips you might give to somebody who is trying to navigate managing a career they love, being in love, this life in Hollywood. What would you say?
Yeah, I've had a lot of terrible dating experiences in Los Angeles.
Great script material.
I don't know if you guys have had to deal with it.
We
but
can relate.
There's typically a lot of jealousy, even between I've dated a lot of guys where they would be jealous that I had like a big meeting. And I'm like, we are not in competition. I don't even feel that way with my friends who are blonde, the same age, and
up for the same role.
Who's actually in the same lane.
Right. Yeah. I don't even feel any sort of jealousy towards that, but especially not my partner. And so for a while, I was dating people who were either in the business or musicians, and now I'm engaged to someone who's not in the business, but he loves the business. He loves arts. He loves music, but he's not in it. So he's just all the way supportive. He actually is an extra on this film. He comes and he's an extra.
That's awesome.
A whole bunch of stuff for me. Aww. So he's very supportive.
I love that. It's great to be secure and to be with someone who's secure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Have you always been secure in yourself and your own abilities and talent? And
yes.
Yes.
At least my talent. I wouldn't say I'm like completely confident.
Yeah. Still
all
human.
The time.
Yeah.
Yes. But I like to say the reason I'm here is because so many people told me no. I've had like a lot of rejection growing up. You know, I wouldn't make the high school play, or I wouldn't, and those little things that just like got the fire under me. I'm like, oh, I'm not good enough for this play. Well, I'm gonna go do Second City instead.
Yeah.
So just navigating through rejection, which is huge in this business. You just have to let that feed you rather than tear you down.
Yeah, they say for every 99 no's, there's one yes. It literally is 1 in 100 in this place.
Yeah, so if you let the 99 no's get to you and you're like, you know what, I'm going to go back to Chicago and work in PR, then go do that. But if you can handle it, then just keep going.
And in the meantime, indulge in Addicted to You. Watch a good rom-com.
Yes.
And it's so funny. Everyone is so great. And I think you guys will all love
Fantastic.
it.
Well, please tell everyone where they can find and follow you and see the film.
Well, you can find me on all social media. My name is Cat Alter, C-A-T, like a normal cat, and alter as in to change, not to pray at. And you could watch Addicted to You on Amazon Prime right now, or you could watch it on Fandango right now. So go do it.
Yes.
It's a great Valentine's movie.
That's right.
I'm sure it is. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank
We
you.
really appreciate you.
It's been great.
Awesome.
Stay tuned. We've got some awesome interviews coming up with The Forward Female and Peace and Love by Nancy Davis. We'll be right back.
seems apropos with Valentine's Day and a whole weekend maybe that's a love fest to have a topic that's really great. And today I'm happy to welcome author Eve Rodsky, who's the author of a brand new book called Fair Play. It's about a game-changing solution for when you have too much to do, and she's joining me today. So I'm so excited. Eve's a first-time author, and kudos to you. The book is all about how to reclaim more time in our lives and also how couples can equitably share responsibilities, and I know we've all faced that, while bringing new harmony to relationships. Eve unveils a revolutionary new system for rebalancing the invisible domestic workload between partners that challenges us all, and so especially females. So Eve, I'm so happy you're here. I think this topic's going to resonate with so many of our viewers and people on the EverTalk network, so I'm so excited. I know some of the things we've all said to ourselves are, I have no time for myself, or this isn't the career and marriage combo that I thought would happen.
Exactly.
And I think I'm quoting you, but now I want you to tell everyone about yourself and how this really came about, because it's a fascinating story.
Well, you can't make this stuff up, right?
Right,
sometimes it's just the straw that breaks the camel's back. But this whole project originated from a text my husband sent me after my second son, Ben, was born.
Okay.
And it just said, I'm surprised you didn't get blueberries.
What?
That was the text.
Oh my gosh.
You can picture the scene, NJ. You know, I had a diaper bag and a breast pump on the passenger seat of my car. I had gifts for a newborn baby to return in the back seat of my car. I'm a lawyer and a mediator by trade, so I had a client contract on my lap. I was racing to pick my older son, who was 3 years old at the time, up from his toddler transition program.
Right.
Which in America lasts like 5 minutes because we don't value working families.
Exactly.
I had like a pen that was stabbing me in the vagina. I mean, it was like one of those meta days that you sort of remember. And yeah, I was texting and driving. I had gotten the text, but I didn't want to commit any more crimes. So as I started to cry, I was worried I was going to be late to pick up Zach, but I was going to get into a car accident.
Oh my goodness.
So I just pulled over. I pulled over and I started crying. I started sobbing, thinking, wow, if my marriage is going to end. I really thought it would be over like my affair with an NFL player. Like that's how or like a dramatic fight in the Caribbean. Like that's sort of how I thought my marriage was going to end. But really what I was thinking was, I used to be able to manage employee teams.
Right.
And now I've sort of lost my career and identity so much that I can't even manage a grocery list. And more importantly, how did I become the default, or as I call in Fair Play, the she-fault for every single household and domestic task for my family? NJ, it was not supposed to happen to me. I come from a single mom household where I vowed from an early age, 7 years old, I helped my mother with eviction notices, with utility bills, where I would show her, this is a regular bill, Mom, this is what a final shutoff notice looks like. From 7, I had vowed I would have an equal partner in life.
And from 7, you were a multitasker.
I was. And I was obsessed with organization.
Right.
So I'm an organizational management specialist.
You're the epitome of multitasking. And I don't blame you for breaking down in tears, because
it was too much. It was too much that day. And I felt like exactly what you said to start, which was this was not the marriage child career combo that I thought I was going to have. And in fact, before kids, ironically, things were really fair. I had married my equal partner.
Right.
We took turns doing the dishes. We took turns ordering in. We took turns supporting each other's careers equally.
Right.
And then things had veered so far from that, 10 years into our marriage, that I was surprised. I was shocked.
And I don't blame you, because it just it sounds like it just creeps in. Everything changes, and you've lost a part of yourself. So I think what's great about what you've written, and I've read the book, and I love this topic, is that there seems to be some cornerstones in what you've written, and fourth major steps or things that I'd love to cover today to sort of how to like reclaim yourself, reclaim your relationship.
Yes.
And by the way, your partner comes out feeling good about the whole thing too.
This is not a man-shaming exercise.
Right.
What I want to say is Fair Play started as a love letter to women.
Right.
It's been an 8-year quest to understand what the hell is happening to me and other women, around small details, creating these huge problems in marriages and relationships. But ultimately, it's become a love letter to men.
Absolutely. And I also think it's about empowering yourself and empowering your partner, and together you move on to this new positive place.
I love that.
But it's hard to figure out how to do that unless you have structure.
Right.
And you and I have talked about this,
Yes.
how important I feel like structure, foundation, scaffolding is in life and organization. So this is sort of a great way to bring organization back. So I'm going to...
Well, we're the same. I will say that one thing about you, NJ, that we're very aligned when I've seen quotes about how you speak about how you do business. But as mediators, we often say that the best mediators, what I do for a living, I'm a lawyer and a mediator for highly complex family situations.
Right.
They sort of mirror the HBO show Succession.
Oh my gosh.
So the good news is now people understand what I do because I can just refer to that show. But what we do, right, is we create boundaries around difficult conversations. So ultimately, Fair Play is helping you create a boundary around a conversation so that anytime you talk about domestic life, you don't get triggered by it, or you're not storming off, or it doesn't feel like emotion is high and cognition is low, which so many times it is when we're talking about home life.
I so agree with that. And I think the other thing is so many of us don't even know how to start the dialogue or the conversation. And that's what this book does. So I'm going to start with the first concept and I love all four of these. And if I've missed something, please let me know. All time is created equal. What does that mean? I love this.
Oh my gosh, thank you. I don't get to go through the 4 rules that often, so I love that we get to dig in. Rule number 1, all time is created equal. First step in reclaiming our lives as women, or even in same-sex couples, the person who's doing more of the domestic life. And what I mean by that is what I found in my research, NJ, was that, yes, the smallest details were creating the biggest problems, right? I'm crying over blueberries. A man in White Plains is telling me he's locked out of his house over a glue stick. Right. He can't come home because, and you can imagine sort of what had happened, right? He gets text in the middle of his day and his wife had been working 3 weeks on a homework project and all she needed was that glue stick.
So do you think the small problem is often the tipping point to the bigger issue?
That's a great question. So as mediators, another thing we say is the presenting problem is not the real problem.
Oh,
so
I love that.
It's presenting as blueberries or glue sticks, but what the core foundation of Fair Play is, and what you can't sort of move on to the card game, because Fair Play is ultimately a game you play with your partner.
And we have to get to
And we'll get there, but what it is it's a foundation that my time in service of the household is equal. So my time, an hour holding a child's hand in the pediatrician's office, has to be as valuable to our family and society as an hour in the boardroom.
Love it. Okay, let's do the next one. Reclaim your right to be interesting. I think we don't want to lose ourselves. So talk to me about it.
Especially women. I interviewed 500 men and women for this book that mirrored the U.S. Census. That's what took me 7 years. One big theme.
I wondered what took so long.
It took 7 years. The big theme was that women especially didn't feel like they had a right, they had permission to be interested in their own lives. So many women would say to me, I'm just signing my emails, hashtag Braden's mom now, right? This idea of this identity loss after kids, or this permission where, happily ever after, we see Cinderella, we see Ariel, they're 18, 19, and then women disappear in midlife. So this idea, and then there's guilt and shame over any time that we want to take for ourselves, especially if it's unpaid. So what I'm saying to women, I call it unicorn space in my book.
I wanted to know what that meant.
What that means. Well, unicorn space is the antidote to this idea of reclaiming your right to be interesting. You claim your unicorn space, which is like the mythical equine. It doesn't freaking exist, especially for women. Creative space for us.
Right.
Unless we say we own it, we create it, we're going to make the time for it. Ultimately, for women, it's the last priority. Time for ourselves to pursue what makes us uniquely us.
I love that, but I think it's really important as women that you maintain yourself.
Yes.
And your interest in life, because then you're interesting, your partner finds you interesting, your children find you interesting, and you feel better about yourself. And that with that feeling comes great things. It sort of flows into the family.
It's everything. One provocative question I started to ask men, particularly in hetero cisgender relationships, was, are you proud of your partner? Are you proud of your wife? And it was a very interesting finding. What I thought it may break down to women who worked or didn't, but what it broke down, ironically, was to unicorn space. So men would say, she's an amazing mother. I'd say, that's a role. Then they'd say, well, I couldn't do it without her. I said, that's a personal assistant. So I said, tell me about the woman that you married. If that partner couldn't go to that third thing, it wasn't just about, I care if a man is proud of his part of his wife. But what I cared about is that women had self-worth. And
Right.
oftentimes it was correlating to women saying to me, I don't know who I am anymore. I don't know what I would do. I'm thinking of having a third child because my kids are about to go to school and I wouldn't even know what to do with myself all day. These very, very difficult things I was hearing on the road. We have a permission to be interested in our own lives, regardless of whether it's paid.
I'm in violent agreement with you.
Yeah, great. I love violent agreements.
Okay, start where you are now. What does that mean?
Well, this is a provocative.
This is rule 3.
This is rule 3. It's a little bit provocative. It's why the Wall Street Journal took my first op-ed. It's this idea that I think 50-50 is the wrong equation in the home.
Okay.
And I actually think it's held women back for a very long time. Because what does that even mean? It leads to scorekeeping. It leads to resentment and disappointments. And oftentimes it isn't 50-50. So what I like to say is that fair play is about ownership. It's about treating our home as our most important organization.
Right.
With some respect and rigor.
Right.
And Jay, I like to say even my Aunt Marion, her Mahjong group has more clearly defined expectations than the home. If you don't bring snack twice, out.
Exactly.
But the home, we're figuring things out on the fly. Who's taking who to soccer this afternoon? Why is there still a sponge in the sink? Who's making dinner? What are we doing this weekend? It's crazy making. We don't live anywhere else like that. Everywhere else, we set an expectation. We deliver on that expectation. We plan. But the home, we're not living in the 21st century.
And it's easier to be happy when you have meet expectations and you know what they are as to something amorphous. So I love that.
Yeah, expectations are everything.
Right.
The opposite of expectations, I like to say as a mediator, is disappointment. And disappointment's a terrible feeling. Nobody likes to feel disappointed, especially not before Valentine's Day.
Right, exactly. And of course, I love that you have a lipstick covered.
Some heart kisses for you on.
Yes. So sort of the way to round all this out and get into the game, which is really interesting, is establish your values and standards. What's that all about? And then I'd love you to take us into some of the cards, and we'll talk about that for a second.
Well, I can start with the card.
Okay.
One of them in here is
and there's
garbage.
100 of them, right?
There are. So we'll find that. But yes, there's 100 cards that represent every single thing that you do in your domestic life. Again, this took me 7 years to research, so nothing is missing.
Okay.
But what it starts with is if you use the cards as a list, right? Just another list, it's not going to work. Women have been making lists for 100 years.
Right.
So what I like to say is before you go into divvying up who does what, what you have to do is you take a crucial step, which is this idea of establishing your values and standards. I'll let you know that if you invest 20 minutes a week in your relationship, which I promise you is less than we all spend on social media, 20 minutes a week in a relationship, it reaps rewards that will be lasting forever, especially to women, to their career. It reaps rewards to their identity. It reaps reward to their mental health, to their physical health.
So agree with you. I'm so excited for people to learn more and hear all about this. I can't thank you enough for sharing all this with me today, because I've been so excited to actually meet you and learn about this firsthand. Thank you, Eve.
Oh my gosh.
And happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day. Happy Galentine's Day,
Galentine's Day, too.
Welcome to Peace and Love with Nancy Davis. I'm so excited today. It's a Valentine's kind of show. It's all about love, peace, and everything wonderful. I'm so happy to have my wonderful friend here. My two wonderful friends here. So happy to have Anne Heche and Thomas Jane.
Thanks.
I've learned lately how much they're in love with each other, and I love things that promote love. And I'm so happy the two of you are here today.
Thank you.
Talking about something as simple as love. And I recently got to know Thomas. We had a lovely dinner, and you guys have a very unique love story. And I know you met a long time on a TV show called Hung.
Well, we actually met before that.
Oh, you did? How did you meet?
25 years old. I'd done one film. She'd done a film with Dustin Hoffman, and he called us into his office and said, "You two are young, talented, and would be perfect together in a film that I'm going to produce, that John Schlesinger, who directed Midnight Cowboy, among other things, is going to direct." We were gobsmacked. We're 25 years old. You know, I mean, literally, I get a call from Dustin Hoffman's assistant in my little tiny apartment on Highland. "Is this Thomas Jane? I've got Dustin Hoffman for you." I'm like, "You're out of your mind."
You thought you were being kind.
Come on. And he's like, "He's going to call you back." And I was like, "Okay." I hung up. 3 days I waited by the phone. I never, because it was before cell phones, you know, one that plugged into the wall. I mean, I wouldn't even leave the apartment to eat. I was just waiting for that phone to ring. Finally rang, Dustin Hoffman. He's like, "I want you to come in and talk to you about a project." I said, "Unbelievable. Yep, that's him. That sounds like Dustin Hoffman." I go in.
So you were 25 years old at the time?
25.
I mean, I'd done one film.
You both are exactly 50, right?
Yes, we're exactly 50.
Yeah.
So tell me what happened a year ago, New Year's Eve, that made this whole amazing
Oh my God,
thing
really?
happen.
Nance, like, the number one thing that we do
make
is
sure that we
cherish celebrate the love connection, the time that we spend together and what it means to each other. And that's another thing that's kind of unique that I haven't done in other relationships is we talk about things that we did, things that we said, adventures that we've had, and what it meant to each of us, and we get to relive the whole adventure through the other person's eyes and see, and that it's a way of sort of getting to know each other's. Because you guys, we have a lovely weekend and we have fun and we both had a blast, and you drive home and you go, "That was really fun. That was really fun." At the end, we always seem to revisit what we did and how we did it and what happened and the things that we felt and what it meant and in a loving and kind of fun way. And that when it seats the things that we do together in a way that becomes a shared experience that I feel what you felt while we were doing it and vice versa. And that's unique. I haven't really done that.
Have you ever written a script about that? That would be just like, I mean, I think it's on
really
such but I think it's on such a deep level. I think everybody's dying to find that thing in their life that you have. I think it's so amazing.
One of the things is
it takes a lot of commitment.
I don't think most people know how that feels and what it is to get to that level and that point and how to just be happy to honor it and identify what that thing is. I think everybody's looking for love, but they don't know what it is or how to go there.
It is a lack of fear, but also we talk about a lot. It is not. Love is a reality. It's a commitment, and you have to start with yourself and in defining it. It's an action.
Remember
when we
kind of came up with that?
Love is
like, "Don't tell me you love me all the time. I don't, hang up. You leave the house. I love you. Hang up the phone. I love you. Don't tell me that. Love is an action.
Yep.
It's a thing that we do.
Daily commitment.
It's a daily.
What do you mean by an action?
Well, first of all, I think love is an understanding with yourself that says, this is what I feel that it is, and this is what I honor, and it's what I serve for myself. I take care of myself in that. I make myself feel good. If I'm
your own definition.
If I'm in a situation, I got myself there. I take care of myself. It's not somebody else's responsibility. And to love yourself, you have to define what it is that means, so that you can be responsible for yourself. So when you meet another person, you're not walking into what I joke about calling the demand castle, which is then I come into a relationship and I go, "You're supposed to do something for me. You're supposed to make me feel pretty. You're supposed to make me feel talented.
Tell me my ass looks good.
And if you don't, then
But do you do that?
He does it.
I don't tell her. I show her.
Love is an action. See that now? You just got your definition.
Do you think that comes from having relationships relationships weren't fulfilled before, now you so badly want that and need that and understand it on a different level? Did you have other relationships?
Those mistakes,
for sure. I mean, we all know it.
But what she said can't be emphasized enough. You have to come to it strictly alone. That's first.
That's first.
You have to come to it strictly alone. So you're no longer in the demand chasm. You're no longer depending on someone else to fulfill anything inside that you feel you haven't got.
Yeah, you got to take care of yourself.
First.
You have to look at what your relationship. I call it your last name story. You have to look at what you were born into, what the relationship is you have with your life, and take care of it for yourself, and not ignore it, not put it on a shelf. It doesn't mean to be ignored, but take a look at it and say, okay, this is who I am, and come to the acceptance with yourself about that, and then you move into your first name.
Do you think though it comes from a point of probably in other relationships perhaps being hurt?
Well, for
and
sure.
all of a sudden feeling like I had, this is my first relationship and I got hurt. I mean, most people had relationships along the way.
Of course.
And then they live with a fear of getting hurt again and all that. But
that's also in a consciousness of growing from our family. Part of our relationship journey is taking care of the relationship we didn't have with our parents, and we've all done that, where we're looking somehow, we think we've done it completely different, and then we're facing.
You're recreating the situation that you had when you were.
It's part of the journey.
No, I know. Look, I know. When I first met, you'd written this amazing book, and you had a tough.
That's how Nancy and I met.
You had a tough time with your parents. And you wrote this book, and I read your book, and I was like, I love how you dealt with your book, because, like, where most people had a tough time, you said, I'm not going to go to a therapist the rest of my life. I wrote this down.
That's
I dealt with it, and I'm not going to punish myself for what my parents did the rest of my life.
That's right.
I dealt with it. I'm going to have a good life.
That's
this is what I'm going to do, and I'm allowed to.
That's right.
I dealt with it. I'm not going to spend the rest of my life on a couch feeling sorry for myself, because
and
that's
reliving
over.
the pain, which is what a lot of the therapy does.
And I thought, well, that's such a healthy attitude, because you did it. And they don't, because your parents did that, they don't have the right to run the rest of your life.
That's right.
And I'm like, why should they? I'm like, who? No one looks at it that way. But I thought, well, that is incredibly healthy. And now you're this young, fun, kind, loving person. You have so much to give in your life. Why should you be tortured forever? You don't have to. It's not written anywhere.
Making that choice.
No, it's not. It's not written anywhere, and it is a choice. And I think that's part of why. And I love that you
No, but I think that's. I think
so
when we first met, that was part of. I think I met you actually at an Oscar party many years ago.
Yeah, I think we did. We did. And then you asked me to go to lunch, and I did.
Yeah, we all had lunch, and we got to know you, and you were so sweet. You always came to my Race to Race MS events, and you were always so great and so supportive, and you've helped us get everywhere we've gotten. And I love that. But you've always remained true. And throughout the years, you have the most adorable, precious kids, and
I do.
You've had wonderful relationships. But I guess it's so really heartwarming to me. It's Valentine's Day coming up. My company's called Peace and Love.
Yeah.
I'm that person who I love a love story. I like a real love story.
And you exude love. That's what you give to everybody that you meet, everybody you see, everybody that you know.
So many people's stories where they're just so cynical, and they're so they're so against the thing that you have. And I think that it's so nice. I mean, it's so nice for me to hear this story, because it just gives me hope, and I think it gives everybody who will be watching this such great hope that that love story's out there, even if you don't have it right now. You have to work harder, and even if somebody's treated you bad, you've had a bad day, you've had bad parents, you've had a bad spouse, you've had whatever that thing is, there's hope. Everybody can have
Well, you have to want it.
Yeah. And that's where I think love is also an action too. And we say love is an action has kind of become a practice for us, and how I like to talk to people who are in that stuck place. Listen, no matter what you had given to you, you have a life on your own. So when we're given our feelings and we're given our emotions, we have an opportunity to understand how we choose to act within them. We can look at them and say that happened to us, and then we can say, you know what, I'm going to close that gap between the pain and the play, and I'm going to use my life and go and play. And that becomes a choice, because so many people get stuck in the muck of reliving and retelling, and oh my God, I'm so sorry, and we think that we have the right to be able to feel sorry for ourselves because that happened, and we either keep telling that story, or we start telling our own story and move on to our first name story.
You spend time thinking about, if that's what you spend time thinking about,
then you're going to recreate it and recreate it and recreate it.
I think you guys should write a Hallmark
Should
we make Hallmark? Well, we should have a Hallmark movie.
Yeah, you should write a Hallmark movie and a Hallmark cartoon. I think it's, I don't know, it's just so refreshing because I think there's so many people who are just like suffering in silence because they're looking for this thing that they can't find.
If you're looking for something outside,
the thing is right here.
If you're looking for it outside of yourself, you're never going to find it.
I mean, it's so refreshing to see, and I think you both have probably gone through what you've gone through, and I think everybody goes through something. Nobody starts off. Nobody has it perfect to start off.
No. It's like I'm not the Queen of England, but you know what? Sometimes the Queen of England felt bad too.
This whole relationship more recently, when you started working on this movie, and I read something that you were just sort of going over the script, and you got this long conversation about.
Where did you read that? That's interesting. Yeah, we got a long conversation.
A long conversation, and as you started talking about the movie, that you started looking into each other and realizing, as you discussed love, what this was, and it made you sort of like get very introspective to each other, and then started realizing just like you had these tools, and it made you discuss love and study each other and get really into that.
It's when we discovered that the story we're telling was a love story, that was the key to unlock the two characters, and they were.
And is that the movie you're working on right now?
That's the movie that is going to premiere at Mammoth called Hour of Lead.
So it's already shot.
It's been shot. That's the movie where
Mammoth Film Festival, February 27th in Mammoth.
What's the movie called?
Hour of Lead.
Hour of Lead?
And it's really Hour of Lead, and the Hour of Lead is the 5 stages of mourning after death, and this couple that we play loses their daughter, and so it's a very intense.
It's a comedy.
No, we made it.
Well, we had it be more fun than it was.
We had more fun.
But in doing that, we had to look really deep at what that was, and as we did it, learned so much about each other, and learned that we had come to a very similar place in how we approach life and look at love and look at responsibility.
Is it a feature film?
It's a feature, yeah.
Is it amazing?
Well, we hope so.
Yeah.
He's amazing in it.
Yeah, she's incredible.
You guys look beautiful, and
we're always laughing.
I know you guys have experienced, as everybody has experienced a lot in their journeys of life, and to watch where you are today. I love Anne. I've known her for a long time. I've seen what she's gone through, and she's such a positive trooper, and she just perseveres through everything. And to see her so happy makes me happy.
Thank you.
Happy Valentine's Day. Thank you for having us on. And you're so
Live from Los Angeles, welcome back to EverTalk Live. Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day. That was a really special look at NJ Falk, the forward female, and of course she gave us peace and love. And since you were so kind and shared those roses with me, I wanted to share my rosé with you.
Oh, I appreciate that, Jazz. You know, I love especially your rosé.
Thank
Yeah, I
you.
love the Moyer
I'm
Rosé.
so excited that I can announce that it's shipping nationwide now. MoyerRosé.com. And I invited our friend Neely Fisher, aka the Flexible Chef, here on the show, and we made a very special cocktail for Valentine's Day. Let's take a look.
Hey guys, I'm so happy to be here with you. And if you guys follow me, you know that I love rosé. And so when I found out about this rosé, first of all, it's so beautiful, as are you. And of course, everything you touch is gorgeous. And so I got excited about us making a rosé cocktail. And I'm glad you're up for it.
Absolutely. I like to say I live la vie en rosé. So what better way than to raise a glass with you and make a rosé cocktail for the season?
What a great name, by the way, and that it's your name. It's just
and that
so
it's my
awesome.
name, so it's my first namesake product, Moyer Rosé. It's available at MoyerRosé.com. I ship nationwide here in the U.S. It's organic Central Coast California rosé.
Amazing. All right, so I hope you like my idea. I was thinking something pink and just so girly and delicious, and we've got these gorgeous glasses, so should we just get going?
Let's do this.
Okay, there's nothing like a beautiful rim, I think. Like, it just jazzes up the drink intentionally. So I had this idea, if you're good with fingers.
Let's do this.
To put some honey on the rim. I usually will use lemon juice, but honey, it was your idea, and it's such a fun idea because what doesn't stick to honey? So I figured that the sprinkles would stick, and you could do this with any drink. It'd be so fun to rim it with, like, you know, if you were doing a mojito, you could do some lemon zest or lime zest or whatever. But we just got this crystallized sugar.
Crystallized sugar, it's so beautiful.
Are you ready with your?
Let's do it.
So we're gonna just pour it into the bowl. You wanna get a nice flat surface so that when you place it in.
I feel like the honey makes it more nutritious.
Nutritious.
Exactly. Royal jelly.
Okay, so I'm gonna go. Hopefully. Oh yes, it did work.
It works.
Yay.
How beautiful
oh my God,
is that?
So fun. How pretty. And I'm gonna pop it down there.
Wow. Honey is actually a great
Amazing.
way
It's
to
actually
rim
really,
a glass.
I feel like that was the best trick we came up with today, is using honey.
It might be. Is it too soon to toast? Yes, okay.
Just a little click. See,
for good measure.
Okay, great. So now we have our pretty, and I was thinking that we add the sorbet first. You want to go first? And just add as much as you want.
You
want me to do it for you?
Please, you
All right.
do it for me.
We just have a knife in studio here, but you could use a little, you know what'd be great is like one of those mini little scoopers, like a little cookie scooper or whatever.
It's a rosé float.
It's a rosé float. So do you want to pour your beautiful?
Yes, don't mind if I do. There you go.
It's the weekend, so
I
being
know
liberal.
how you love your rosé.
So pretty.
I always like to say my glass
Oh my God.
is half
Can you
full.
see, by the way, how it's already a little pink and like, wow.
Cheers.
Happy late New Year, but it's always a new year. It's always a new day.
To la vie en rosé.
Yay.
Well, cheers! I am so excited that I get to share Moyer Rosé with you,
Me
Rob.
too,
with
Jess.
all of you. Let's pop a bottle.
Loving these
so, of
bottles,
course,
by the
it's
way.
all the things organic, sustainable.
Yeah.
It's California, but in the French style, which is very me. You know, if you
Like it turns the right way.
make me rosé, it would be Moyer.
I love it. Oh, all right. Nice.
Okay, so we have to make a toast.
Okay. I hope you're good at toast.
I am.
I'm not the best
I
at
am.
toast.
Toast.
All right.
Today I want to toast
Yep.
to happiness.
Oh, wow.
on the inside.
Look at that, Jazz. I didn't have to pay you to say that. That was awesome. Thank you so much. Cheers to you as well.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Happy
Thank
Valentine's
you for
Day.
all the love you bring to us.
Ah.
We really appreciate
Thank you, Jez. You're the gift. I truly and sincerely appreciate you.
And you're the gift. We truly and sincerely appreciate. I'm gonna cry. Just having a little more over here. Okay. Be sure to tune in tomorrow. Well, that's Monday at 9 a.m. for EverTalk Live. We are all things happiness and health.
That's right. And get your Moyer Rosé and all your other Moyer swag at where?
Moyer Rosé.
All right. That's right. Have a great weekend.
Have a great weekend. Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
Happy Valentine's Day.
That's right.